Hello everybody, my name's Justin. I'm a developer in the Million community, and today I'd like to take a look at our process by which we take your ideas and suggestions and turn them into realities. There are several tools that we use to do this. We have Discord, we have Trello, and we have GitHub. There's another application we're starting to use too called Notion. It's used mostly by marketing, but some of us in development are also starting to use that. So how do the ideas start? Well, they start in your heads. But from there, they end up spilling out into Discord and all sorts of different places. We have an ideas and suggestions channel where people go and post regularly. People go and see that, and then they go and vote on them, and that really gives us a good idea of, what are people talking about. We see a lot of suggestions that are echoed from earlier suggestions. But other things that we do too are look at the channels in Discord and kind of judge the sentiment of the chat and look at what are people talking about a lot. Right? So staking was something that people were talking about. Everyone's talking about it in a craze over the NFTs. We have collaborations with influencers, all sorts of stuff. So once we go through and we find a bunch of stuff that the community really wants, we then hop on over here to our Trello board. So on our Trello board, we've placed things in brainstorm and research and design that we're not quite ready to start putting the pedal to the metal, so to speak. This is a section that has the most talked about and coveted things from the community. We'll take these and speaking with leadership and other leaders in the community, we'll ask, how can we go about doing this? And we'll brainstorm. We'll brainstorm in Discord, we'll brainstorm on voice chats, and we'll come up with all the different ways in which we can approach this particular thing. We also want to judge how likely it is, given our resources and people that we have. Is this something that we can do right now? As an example, collaboration with MrBeast isn't really something that we can do right this moment. We can send emails out to MrBeast. They'll probably be read by his assistant. Eventually, they'll get back to somebody, but it's not something we can really start working on right now. Now, the portion of this that has nothing to do with MrBeast, but the planting trees, that's something that we can start brainstorming at how we can do it maybe without MrBeast, right? You'll notice as we go into many of these cards, you'll see that I tried to accredit the idea back to somebody in Discord, and if there were multiple people that commented on it, then you'll see multiple names in here. If you'd like credit and your name isn't on here, please reach out. I will absolutely put your name in here, and you can be part of the story too. Once we have things that we have either the people or the resources, or we know that we can immediately work on it, that's what we do. We start immediately researching and designing. You'll see a couple different types of items here in the Trello board. You'll see things that are worded a certain way, and then maybe you'll see these bigger topic labels. Something like staking million token is what's considered an epic. It means that it encompasses a lot of stuff to do, right? It's not just one card. There's not one person that's going to take this on and then go do it. There's going to be many people involved with it. And there's going to be many things to do about it. You'll also see these other cards like here we have, as a visitor of the Million Token website, I should be able to read the website in my native language as if it were written by a native speaker so that I may understand it without having to translate it myself. So you'll notice that we write them in a certain way, and this is called a user story. So we see here that we have as a somebody, what is it that they should have or be able to do, or what is it that they need? They should be able to read the website in their native language as if it were written by a native speaker. And then why? Why do they need that? Why should they be able to do that? So that they may be able to understand without having to translate it themselves. Now you'll notice that we're putting emphasis on the person here, and we're emphasizing the value that is delivered to that person. That's one of the important parts of this process, is to really focus on who is this about and what value are we delivering to them. So after we've got some big epics here, we break them down into user stories and we start moving those user stories over to the to-do. Depending on which teams are picking up these things, we eventually move them over to in progress. If we have clear communication that a particular team is working on something that's here, one of us will move it over to in progress. Speaking of teams, let's take just a little bit of a tangent. If you guys haven't read the book Mythical Man Month, it's amazing. So essentially it's chock full of ideas and the wisdom of people that have worked on big projects. There's something in the book, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's like you put 9 women together and they're not gonna deliver a baby in a month. That's where the myth comes in. People think that you can just add a bunch of people and then things get done a lot faster. And that's actually not the case. There's a formula for communication overhead. Once you get to a certain size, having so many people actually slows the project down, and the majority of the work is just communicating, which is crazy, right? So an ideal size of a team is anywhere from 4 to 8. 4 is on the low side, really 6 to 8 is that sweet spot. But you can get a lot done with 4, or even 2, depending on what it is that you're doing and how drawn out you're willing to take the work and really, get it done. You'll get some pretty good efficiency between 6 and 8. That's ideal. So back to the Trello board here. Some of these epics could be things that teams of 6 to 8 people could take on. Staking million token is going to be done by a lot of people. By a lot, I mean, there's going to be a lot of different people involved. But for each part of those involvements, like development, software development, there should be somewhere around 6 to 8 people working on it. For marketing, there should be, ideally around 6 to 8 people working on the marketing, etc. Once things are in progress and we have something to show, we'll bring it over to review, right? And this will be the time that we can review it. Maybe it's in review internally by leadership. Maybe it's posted for the community to review before we finally push the button and deliver. And then once it's delivered here, it comes to done. So speaking about to do and the development side of things, since I'm a developer, I'm going to go just a little bit into the development side. So we take those to-dos, those user stories that are over there, and we find a project for them to fit in. So for example, here's a user story that talks about a visitor of the website. Eventually, we'll have a project in here that will be for the website. And so the tasks that can be taken on by the community, either whether that's lead developers, really anybody that believes they have the skill, they can step up to bat, right? And so this will open up a lot of doors for people to contribute. Right now, we're in the process of polishing this process. This is all an agile effort. So that means that as we find things that do work and don't work, we'll modify the process over time. But since we're in the process of things, there are things that have not been broken down into tasks yet into GitHub. So that's going to be one of my primary focuses, is starting to add these projects here in GitHub and opening up those doors for everybody in the community that wants to contribute to do so. So if we look at here, we don't really have anything related to the Discord bot, but we had a lot of great ideas. And that's another point I wanted to make, is that you may not be intricately familiar with the Trello board and the GitHubs, and maybe you're somebody who just wants to peek in, you don't have much free time, and you just want to contribute now and then. There's no reason that you can't go talk with people in the community and say, hey, this would be a really cool thing to do, right? Maybe I want to see the volume change every 24 hours, or every so often I want to see what is the volume change between right now and 24 hours ago. And so you can come in here and you can pull these repositories down, you can make pull requests, and you can have them reviewed, and then now you can contribute. So there's more ways to contribute than just focusing on the board, but we really do need somewhere around 4 to 6 people, 6 to 8 people, multiple groups of 4 to 8 that are working on particular initiatives from the Trello board. If what's on the Trello board isn't what we really want, then let's vocalize that. Find other people that also think that we're missing something here. It may be that we don't have enough people. It may be that we don't have enough forward movement on some of these things. There could be a bunch of different reasons why something isn't on the board, but if you vocalize that, then it'll work towards getting that thing put on the board, and then put more focus on it, more emphasis on it. So as a developer, you can come to one of these projects such as Discord. There's some to-dos here that are working their way through. This is something that I'd like to take note of to highlight the importance of the Trello board, but it also highlights the importance of people just kind of saying, hey, this would be cool, right? There's 2 parts to it here. We have a price feature. I have no idea what this is. I know that it's a feature related to price, but I don't know who's going to benefit from it. I don't know what it is, and there's no real link to anything trackable. I could probably go scour the Discord and get a rough idea, or go ask the developer who submitted it. But that goes back to that whole communication overhead thing. If everyone's always looking around to try to find the right person to talk to, and it's all like communication just between people talking, then that's going to take up a lot of time. So if this would have been something that we had written a user story and linked it, then you could immediately come back to the Trello. We could say, oh, okay, so this is the person who's going to benefit. This is what they're getting. And then now we'll know what this feature is. So we see that this is in review. Once these get reviewed and moved over to reviewer approved, they'll eventually make their way to done. And that's about it. Look forward to looking at the projects here in the Million Token Community GitHub. There'll be more and more projects that get added here to the GitHub that are related to these things in the Trello. And there'll be more and more tasks that get broken down that really anybody in the community can come in and contribute to. It's great that we have people that are coming up with these great ideas and, these little changes that can be made that can really, help the people in the Discord and the community. But we also need people that are going to focus and be dedicated towards that Trello board, because those are big things that have huge value, like staking, like NFT projects. And so we need both. So if you'd like to be part of the community that focuses on the Trello and the GitHub, stay tuned for more updates. We're going to start having, bi-weekly updates. I'd like to work on working with you guys and figuring out how can we change this process to make it better over time so we can be hyper efficient and really get some of those big things out there. And let's go to the freaking moon. What do you say? Let's go. Let's go to the moon. Well, that's all I got for you guys. I hope that cleared some things up on how we're doing things, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the community.